Ronnie said they do inspect in between. Any person saying they don't hasn't handled construction anywhere in Kenya. That was my thinking. Um, how would county officials even get their daily lunchtime bribes if they didn't do inspections? And remember, the last live with FKC Legal, we asked Abdi that, and he said his opinion was that they could probably be bribed for like small changes or things that aren't safety related, but he doubted that they would approve catastrophic safety issues, was his opinion about building inspections. And that's what his position on that was. And that's kind of where I'm at with this stuff, and kind of even what Ronnie's saying. I think, because in the U.S., if you're trying, if you want to add a electrical outlet somewhere and it's not on the plans, if you get a certain kind of inspector, now you got to go back to the architect. They're going to take 4 weeks to do it for such a minor thing, and then they're going to stop you, not let you do stuff. So sometimes you might try to, you don't bribe them like that, but you're just really nice to the guy and hope he doesn't flag it. And like, okay, that's not a safety issue, right? But if the column is the wrong size for the weight of the building, that's a whole different thing. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people, it happens in the U.S., but in Kenya, people will come on here and be like, no one's inspecting anything. Everything's corrupt. Nothing works. And I don't really buy that from my experience. Kenya does have systems. Dang, do I have a sty on my eye? And while I don't like, I feel like across all of Africa, people just say corruption to everything without defining any of it. And I don't even think they know how these things work. That's why we're trying to deep dive into it, because just saying it's corrupt and that's why everything is messed up and just leaving it at that, it really is annoying, because how do you fix it? And how do you avoid it happening or causing a negative impact on you? Like, I feel like it's such a cop-out. And I think people need to stop doing that, to be honest. Especially in Kenya, where I feel like it's like, things get done, man. Like, good things are happening, and just to throw your hands up and just say corruption in the government. Even like those trade organizations, they were like, there's systemic problems, but like, can you give me an example? Maybe that's me because I'm not like a layman, right? Like, I'm in the industry, although in a different country. Like, I want specifics, not, oh, there's systemic. Like, anyone that uses broad language and never gets into specifics, how am I going to listen to you? Do you even know what you're talking about? Because it sounds good to just make, and they may, and maybe it was cut from the video that we covered, but I need to see more to form a real opinion. A whole bunch, everyone's sending me all these Instagram pages, Facebook things saying there's bribes, there's this, the buildings are unsafe. And that's like the narrative that's going around. But where the heck is the backup to any of these claims? And I'm open to agree. Like, I don't want to buy or be in a building that collapses. So, if it's a real thing, I want to know. And how would you know? How do you know how the system works? How do you know what's being inspected and not inspected? So, you see how we've just spun our wheels, and what's the conclusion? This is my problem. And this is not just Kenya. This is literally the whole world. Pretty much journalism has gone down the tubes. How do we know anything? How, literally, like, okay, We see that 85% of the buildings are unsafe by these different trade organizations. Is anybody going to look into it? You won't see evidence of bribe, though, but we know it happens. Right. But you can see where something was not approved and then approved, and then it falls down. Right? But I don't think this was approved. Like, okay, but this stuff, yeah, shady dealings are hidden. But I think you could point to, okay, okay, if you bribe someone to build something without approvals and you built it correctly, no one would know because you want to save time. Right? But if you bribe somebody and the building falls down and people die, and there's, okay, when people investigate and look at what happened, who approved the thing that shouldn't have been approved? Or was it approved and then the developer built it in a way that it wasn't supposed to be? And then who was responsible for looking at the building during construction? And in the South Sea case, again, the initial reporting said that there was a stop work order on that building. So where is the shady dealing and bribe at? Or is the bribe, and I'm just thinking logically, I'm not, arguing. Is the bribe that they just continue doing the work and no one ever stops them, and then they sell the units or rent them out and no one ever says anything, and there's a record that it was a stop order and just no one enforced it? Is that how it works?